This is me less than 4 years ago. It looks like your regular professional headshot, but the reality reveals another story. Next to my right shoulder is a fridge door. I'm wearing a pair of shorts and the camera is resting on top of a chair which is balancing on the kitchen bench. Taking it deeper than that, inside I was in hell. I was experiencing the darkest months of my life, disconnected and alone. I felt I was in some kind of trapped purgatory that sat on the outskirts of real life. Like living in a glass case where you couldn't feel life, but you could pretend to be in it and watch everyone else seem to be fine. With the outside world labeling me as a broken human, I decided to do what they told me and learn to live with it. I moved in with others who made this way of living glamorous, even though I could feel we were all in hell. It wasn't until the darkest, most scariest moment of my life did I realize that it didn't matter how glamorous you made it. These eyes were so intense that day, Adam grabbed my shoulders and forced me to look into his eyes. In our boardroom, I was having a massive anxiety attack in front of my managers. Later that week, the CEO took me under his wing, shared his own battle with depression, and gave me my first breadcrumb to find my way out of this cave of darkness. He shared with me a retreat he had done that had truly helped. A breathwork retreat that forced you to face the fears and release the emotional traumas trapped in our bodies. It was a reality changer, realizing that depression was more of a symptom than an illness, that something was wrong and I just needed to face it. So I did. I spent 8 days facing my darkest emotional traumas. I lost my voice from screaming so much. It was one of the most intense retreats I have done, but definitely rewarding. On the last day, I saw this peacock. A totem meaning of peacock is now is the time to acknowledge your dreams and aspirations within yourself. This was my second breadcrumb from the universe. To follow my dreams and aspirations, I knew it would mean quitting my job, but that would mean I would have to face my CEO, my parents, my friends asking, "But what are you going to do?" Depression had scared me enough that from this point forward, I would no longer listen to anyone else but me. So I quit my job, and to get me by, I started a cash-in-hand job as an airbrush tattoo artist. Yup, I had become a carny. My brain was screaming, "What are you doing? This doesn't make sense." But I knew that I just had to trust and surrender, and the path would lead me to where I meant to be. All I had left was intuition. It was the only guidance system up until that point in my life I hadn't really used. Logic, yes. Parents, yes. Societal expectations, yes. But listening to that small voice inside, even if it didn't make sense, well, what have I got to lose? To get to Melbourne for the next show, I had to fly to Sydney and pick up a car for a friend and drive it down. I had hardly any money, so I asked the universe to get me out of the airport to pick up the car for little or no money. When a woman walked up to me and handed me a free train ticket. This was my first indication that by letting go and trusting my gut, the universe had my back. This idea that the only voice I was now listening to was my own intuition felt like I was jumping off a cliff, not knowing whether I would go up or down. I actually felt free for the first time in a very long time. And curiously, each time I asked, "What if I fall?" the universe responded with synchronicities showing me I was flying. Did I mention that the car I was asked to drive from Sydney to Melbourne was a BMW convertible Z3 Roadster? The only car I had had on my vision board since I was 21. I got to drive into my new life in the car I had dreamed of for free. Was this another sweet sign from the divine? I was gaining confidence in trusting my intuition, but I was still not convinced the universe had my back, until I asked the universe for a free iPhone 5 cable because mine had broken. It was a rare item at the time. Randomly turning off the road at Puckapunyal to a small roadside cafe, a woman behind the counter offered me her spare one. I left knowing that following my intuition, the universe would have my back. With the past behind me and the future in front, all I had now was the present moment, and it was stunning. No expectations, no one telling me what to do, just my inner GPS, the universe, and my next message to get myself to Bali. A few weeks later, I landed in Bali with only $250 to my name. Mother Bali, as most of you know, holds you so you can become present with yourself. I released more old traumas and my inner voice became louder. A beautiful thing began to happen. I no longer found myself alone. my inner guidance had led me to my kind of people, my tribe. They spoke my language and saw the world as uniquely as I did. To find out that there are other people who see the world in a different way like you is absolutely priceless. It was freedom knowing that I was no longer alone in this world. It was a key part of my healing. My self-guided empowerment journey led me to hear my heart again. It gave me my own wings to fly wherever my inner guidance led me. And it has brought me to a life that I only daydreamed about. When you let go and listen to what your heart is telling you and act accordingly, magic can happen. One gem that I created from this journey is a tool called the Compass of Empowerment. You use your own values and beliefs, your self-serve habits, and your growth strategy to build it. It's a tool anyone can design and implement in their own life. This compass ensures you have clear boundaries that keep the darkness out and the light expanding from within. This is my self-guided empowerment journey, but everyone has their own unique story. When we become self-empowered, we can do epic shit. My dream is that you can all go forth and be that force of awesomeness too. I believe in you. 4 years and 1 week ago, it was the very last time I stood up in front of others before I fell into that deep dark hole. It was 3 days after this photo was taken. Today is the first time I'm back on stage, standing in front of you, bigger and brighter, shining my light larger than ever before, so that others can do the same. Thank you for being part of my self-guided empowerment journey.